In the castle town of Fortna, Nina, an orphan with blue eyes, survives by stealing alongside her friends, Saji and Colin. But when Colin dies, Saji betrays Nina and sells her into slavery. Azure, the second prince of Fortna, who buys Nina for a very specific reason, her matching eye color. Turns out she's the perfect replacement for the dead prince, Alisha, and now she's destined to marry the crown prince of Gelgada, a political marriage basically. Thrown into Prince's training bootcamp, Nina quickly realizes the royal family isn't exactly warm and fuzzy. The queen immediately puts her on the spot, demanding her perform a traditional dance in front of the court. Nina freezes in terror, but Azure swoops in with an excuse to save her. However, when the queen later demands custody over Nina, things get heated, so Nina jumps into a pool and soaks the arrogant queen in front of everyone. 10 out of 10 power move. Nina is done with this palace life and tries to sneak out. On her way, she bumps into Prince Mahudam, the adorable but sharp-tongued little brother of Azure. The two instantly bond over the shared annoyance with Azure and teams up to spy on him, but it fails hilariously. Later, Mahudam and Nina somehow get trapped in a well, but Azure rescues them. Mahudam, clearly inspired by Azure's hero moment, asks him to train him in swordsmanship, something he's been avoiding. Meanwhile, the palace prepares for the upcoming Starry Festival, where everyone releases lanterns to make wishes. Nina sneaks off to visit the place she used to live with Saji and Colin, but the town no longer remembers her. This realization shatters her. It's like Nina never existed. Meanwhile, Azure is looking for Nina. When he sees Nina so lost in thought, brings back memories of his own past. He is the replacement for the real Prince Azure. Like Nina, suddenly he gets jumped by some thugs, an assassination attempt that he easily overpowers. Azure takes Nina to the royal villa, where his great-grandfather, the former king, lives. But just as the visit starts, Azure is notified that his horse saddle was tampered with. The assassination attempts are getting bolder. Nina overhears this and confronts Azure, but he shrugs it off like it's another Tuesday. Determined to do something, Nina seeks out the former king for help. Instead of offering wisdom, the old man throws her into the dungeon, because how dare a commoner step foot on sacred ground? Nina doesn't even mind. She's chilling in her cell completely unbothered. Impressed, or maybe just confused, the former king calls her back and warns her that only she can change things. Gelgada is already tightening its grip on Fortna. Meanwhile, Azure storms in to fetch her, apologizing to the old man for any chaos she caused. But later that night, he finally opens up, revealing his complicated past and how he was raised to see people as pawns. When Nina shares her emotions, Azure kisses her, finally dropping his co-prince act, if only for a moment. Nina receives a bunch of extravagant gifts from Gelgada, but instead of appreciating the gesture, Azure tells her to throw them away. Nina ignores him and goes full detective mode, suspecting the queen is behind the recent assassination attempts. Plot twist is the king himself. He straight up admits to orchestrating the attacks, not for politics, not for power, but simply because he hates Azure. Why? Because Azure is too loyal to Fortna, and the king sees him as an annoying, self-righteous threat, really cold. Then the king turns to interrogate Nina about her true identity, but she flips the script and throws down a wild bluff. If marrying Gelgada Prince means destroying Fortna, she will do it. With her diplomatic status, having a marriage that stabilizes the relationship between both nations, the king cannot lay a finger on her. Checkmate. Determined to change Fortna's fate and Azure's destiny, Nina secretly departs for Gelgada 10 days earlier. Azure tries to chase after her, but in the end, he lets her go. Nina arrives at Bestia, a Gelgada territory, and is basically told to sit tight for a while. But of course, that's not happening. She soon bumps into Set, the infamous Tyrant prince. At her welcome ceremony, Nina meets Set's other potential brides, who all look terrified of him. Seeing the mood turn sour, she tries to stand out, saying she is different from the others. Set tests her claim by pinning her down like a shady sugar daddy. Naturally, Nina rejects him outright. Set just laughs it off and coldly reminds her that she is nothing but a political tool. Determined not to let him break her spirit, Nina charges ahead. She meets Anne, a new lady in waiting, and they hit it off, but trouble finds them fast and gets accused of stealing. Nina steps up to defend her, but in doing so, she ends up confronting Set himself. Set, unimpressed, declares she an enemy of Gelgada. Nina, unfazed, boldly declares her admiration for the kingdom. Set's response, a literal sword slash. After days of bed rest, Nina is back in action. While wandering the castle, she sees the guard captain tormenting a lady in waiting. She intervenes, using a fake excuse to get the girl out of trouble, but she knows this guard captain is a problem, so she disguises as a maid holding one of Set's possessions. The captain falls for it, tries to punish her, and ends up in a dungeon when he realizes he just messed up with the future princess. Set is not amused and threatens Nina, but when she explains her actions, he just signs and tells her to pack up. They are leaving for Galgada. Just when Nina thinks she's getting nowhere with him, Set does the unexpected. He kisses her, but instead of swooning, she feels kinda empty inside. No time to process though, her carriage tumbles off a cliff. As if that's not bad enough, she now has a wild beast charging straight at her. Nina desperately cries for Azure, but no, it's Set who pulls out the gun and one-taps the tiger. Even so, he takes a hit. As Nina tends to his wounds, she throws a wild request at him. Just pretend to love me, maybe you'll actually start to. Set surprisingly starts feeling things. Meanwhile, Nina finds a baby tiger cub and wants to keep it. Set allows it, just watching her pure-hearted antics like he's seeing the sun for the first time. They finally arrive in Galgada, where Nina meets Set's chaotic brothers. Her first impressions? These guys are something else. Later, she apologizes to Set for the earlier commotion. They share a rare, quiet moment. She realizes he has been alone his whole life and decides it's her mission to bring some warmth into his world. Then Galgada's ruler, Set's mother, drops a bomb. Whoever invades Fortna successfully will be the next king. Translation: whoever marries Nina gets the throne. Meanwhile, Azure gets crowned as Fortna's new king. Set tells Nina she's free to choose whoever she wants. Then Prince Azure of the Black Wings swoops in and offers her a spot in his wings, aka political custody. Nina politely declines, but this dude takes her away anyway. While plotting her escape, she runs into Beetle, Set's third brother and certified flirt master. Before she can process his infinite riz, the Black Wing soldiers tries to amputate Nina, but Set shows up, slices through the chaos and shuts it down. He exposes the sword marks on her chest, his way of branding her as his. Later, Set's brother Toad warns Nina against picking Set, dropping cryptic hints about the Temple of Blood and Set's ugly past. Nina soon learns that Set was raised by a twisted priest with a not-so-holy obsession with his mother and was basically treated as a human punching bag. Just as things settle, news arrives. Fortna's messenger are here on the coronation of the new king. Nina spots the Fortna messenger and is sure Azure is one of them, but when she approaches, Azure brushes her off and walks away. Ouch. Seeing her down, Set actually tries to cheer her up. Fueled by renewed energy, Nina chases after Azure again, but this time she finally meets him. But Set crashing the reunion, making sure Azure is keeping his hands and feelings to himself. Meanwhile, Galgada's biggest combat tournament kicks off, drawing warriors from across the kingdom. Inspired by all the action, Nina convinces Set to train her. He agrees, but with conditions. Training comes with a side of love confessions and a deep, intense kiss. Despite everything, Nina starts enjoying her time in Galgada and hopes for peace between the two nations. But one night, Azure finds her again. His message? Forget this arranged marriage, and he's coming back to rescue her before spring. He even got the former kings back for this rescue mission. Nina struggles with her feelings as Hikami tells her about Fortna's history, proving Nina doesn't have to marry a foreigner. Set, sensing something's up, leans in for a kiss, but Nina asks him to just cuddle instead. When she asks him to call off the invasion of Fortna, Set gives her the coldest response: not happening, babe. On the battlefield of the tournament, Dogra, Black Wing's champion, goes berserk. Nina steps in to stop him, but nearly gets herself killed, and Azure tries to fight Dogra, but his attacks useless. Set jumps in, flexes his power, and saves the day. But before Nina can catch her breath, Set turns around and attacks Azure. Galgada's queen Noah throws Set on a house arrest for a month as he broke the tournament rules. Meanwhile, Nina sneaks out to meet Azure. Azure confesses his love and begs her to come back to Fortna. Nina not having it. She tells him this is for Fortna, and if he hadn't shown up, things would have been easier. Ouch. Meanwhile, Queen Noah learns Fortna is reinforcing his fortress, so instead of waiting, she orders Galgada to attack first. At dinner, she drops another bomb. Nina and Set are getting married in a month. Azure stays unbothered. He's still dead set on winning Nina back. Later, Hikami suggests Nina use her legendary pep talk powers to convince Set not to invade Fortna. She even gives Nina tea and sweets for the chat. Set surprisingly agrees instantly. Just as Nina is celebrating, Set starts coughing up blood because the tea was poisoned. Then Hikami lunges at him with a knife. Turns out this was the plan all along. Nina saves Set from getting shanked, but the guards completely misread the situation. Instead of thanking her, they arrest her for attempted assassination. In jail, Hikami swings by to drop a plot twist. He's actually a dude. He casually tells Nina he's going into hiding because running away is all he can do. Meanwhile, everyone connected to Nina is summoned. Hikami tries to take the blame, but Anne exposes the real culprit, someone from Blackwing probably tampered with the herbs. Nina, back to jail. Toad drops by for a villain monologue, revealing that he's the one who poisoned Seth. His master plan breaks Seth completely, so he destroys Fortna. Oh, just for fun, Azure is about to get assassinated. While getting recalled to Fortna, with everything spiraling, Queen Noah ships Nina off to prison of the Far East until her innocence is proven. But even in chains, Nina refuses to lose either of her husbands.